Hi, this is Nick Farrow with English Discovery, one more in the series on getting your writing better. Okay, so far we have studied 4 danger points in writing. I hope you can see the problems here. This one is about the subject and verb not matching. This one shows you have a be verb with a regular verb. That's no good. Capital letter and? No. And but should not begin a sentence. And finally, this example is the problem of matching one or more plus the noun, and some banana doesn't fit. For today's lesson, let's check now the vocabulary you're going to need. If you don't know them all, pause the video to check them in a dictionary. Okay. Well, you know rule number 1. Don't translate it. Let's go straight to rule number 2. This is important. It may be one of the best pieces of advice I can give. If your sentences become very long, then you might make some bad mistakes and your report may become difficult to read. When you are analyzing your report, if you find a sentence with over 20 words, you should think about whether you could cut it into 2 sentences to make it clear. Okay, we're going to move now to the first main point of our lesson. Okay, that's easy. Most people can understand this easily enough, but sometimes they get it wrong when writing. Okay, please read all these examples. They're all wrong, all incorrect. So, what's wrong with them? What kind of mistake can you see in every case? Perhaps you will notice that in every sentence there's a conjunction, so, or because. The problem is that these conjunctions have been used wrongly. All the examples should be showing a logic of cause and effect, but they are all reversed in logic. Let's look at it more carefully. To get it right every time, this technique is very easy to remember. Because is before the cause. I took my umbrella because it was raining. I gave him fish because he doesn't like meat. Here again, you can see the same examples in the correct forms. I took my umbrella today because, And here is the cause. It was raining. In this sentence, the cause comes first, then so, and then the result. Here is the same pattern. Cause, then effect. And the same information with because before the cause. These are almost the same in meaning. And here is another way to say the same thing, starting with because. And because is still before the cause. Again, there's not a big difference in meaning. It's more a change of style. Finally, here is an example which may belong to a technical report. It still uses the same pattern. Here's one more point to be careful about when connecting two sentences with a conjunction. You must remember that you are connecting two sentences, both with a subject and verb. So this example is wrong. Tired is not a sentence. No subject, no verb, no good. If you add the subject and verb after the conjunction, now we have a good sentence. The subject of each part of this sentence is the same, we. The next two are good examples, but these have two different subjects. And in the final example, you can see the subject in the first half is replaced by a pronoun in the second half. So here you have 4 good sentences. They are grammatical and logical. It's quite normal to present one idea in different forms. These 3 sentences have similar meanings. Don't worry too much. Perhaps you should use the form which is most natural for you. Another point you can see here. If because is before the cause, you can see that so is before the effect or before the result. Let's look at some examples. Decide which of the following sentences are correct and which ones have mistakes. Pause the video to prepare your answers. Okay, now here are the answers. Number 1 is correct. Because appears before the cause. No problem. But number 2 is wrong. You should not put because before the result. Number 3 is wrong for the same reason. Many people want to get them is not the cause, it's the effect. Use so in this case. Number 4 is correct. So comes before the result. Number 5, wrong. The test is the cause. And because goes before the cause. Number 6 is wrong too. Because should come before the cause, and can't relax is not the cause. Therefore, let's use so. These are now all correct. I recommend that you pause the video and read them out loud. In fact, all of these examples could have different forms. Here, they all begin with because. I think when you are writing a report, these orange-colored versions would be fine. But in spoken English, I think the original blue-colored versions are more natural. Let's move on to the second point. What's wrong with these sentences? Do you see a pattern that is strange? First, look at the subject of each sentence. And now, look at the noun. Friends, food, movie, people, and man. The problem is that when we use a word before the noun to describe it, we must use an adjective. But look, these are not adjectives, so they cannot be put before the noun. To explain this, first let's look at some similar sentences using adjectives. We are using the same key words to make new sentences, but the meanings are not all the same. So look at these examples. The subject nouns are the same as in the last slide. But before them, we now have adjectives. Everything is clear and easy to understand. Okay, here you see the first incorrect examples on the left. On the right, let's see how they should be written. First, we add a relative pronoun after the main noun. In this case, who, because it's about a person or about people. Now we can describe the person using, in this case, a verb phrase. Don't smoke. This whole piece is called a relative clause. The next one has a different relative pronoun, that, or sometimes which in British English, followed by a subject and verb to make the relative clause. The other examples follow a similar pattern. In these examples, you can see that there are various types of relative clause. It's not so easy to get this right every time. Next point, on the right you see the same sentences. These are quite formal in style, which is good for writing reports. However, let's just take a quick look at how they may be written or spoken in more basic or simple styles. These two can be written or spoken without the relative pronoun. This one too has a shorter style and even shorter with in. Or you can change it like this to with. This pattern works here too. This can get quite complicated, so don't worry too much. But for reports, please try to use the style with the relative clauses. And one more short note. The examples we have shown so far were only for the subjects of each sentence. But this style works for the objects too. Here are two examples, which I think are pretty easy to understand. In this case, a guy is the object of the sentence, I knew, and a car is the object of scientists have developed. In lesson 5, you can learn 2 more points, and then most of the basic trouble points in your writing will be fixed. Thanks for watching this video. Please join me for part 5. Subscribe if you'd like to subscribe, and don't forget to like if you liked.